Hello, and welcome to the second annual New Jersey Youth Transition Conference. My name is Audrey Mariani, and I represent the Camden County Family Support Organization on behalf of the Youth Transition Planning Committee. We will place a registration form in the chat box for you to share your contact information so that we can share the recordings and resources with you from the workshops once they're completed. Please note, for those who are seeking continuing education credit, you are required to complete the form, as this is the contact method in which we will send you the proof of attendance. Today's workshops will be hosted via the same link you have joined with today. You can see the full schedule on our website, and I will share the agenda on the screen after the conclusion of the workshop. Our presenter today is Theresa Santana from the Division of Developmental Disabilities, who will present on the topic of navigating the Division of Developmental Disability Service Systems. I believe she's
I am here.
Hello, Theresa. How are you?
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Thank you for presenting.
Thanks for having me. I look forward to this presentation. Let me just set up my, can you see my
Absolutely.
screen?
Yep.
Okay.
Looks
Perfect.
great.
Okay.
Best way to end a rainy day.
Oh, right? What a day. It's cold too, right?
It is cool. We were talking earlier, we had to put our heat on. Some of us had to put the heat on, and that's not fun. It's expensive. We just turned off the air conditioner.
Right, like 5 minutes ago. So would you like me to start now, or should I wait till 6 o'clock?
Just wait a couple minutes, I think. Yeah, wait till 6, maybe 6:02, just to wait for everybody to come in.
That works.
Just I'm gonna put the sign-in sheet in the chat box so everybody has a chance to sign in, and make sure that whenever you are. Once again, all the presentations are completed. These will be sent. You will be sent notification of the recordings and the resources from all the events this week. So keep a lookout for that. Give it 1 or 2 more minutes. Again, thank you all for joining us with Theresa Santana from the Division of Developmental Disabilities, also known as DDD, for navigating the Division of Developmental Disability Service System. I hope you guys got a chance to see some of the other presentations today. They were really, all the workshops, the whole conference is just tremendous. The amount of information people get for family members. As a family support person, this is just such a wealth of information for any family who might need it, even if it's not right now, even in the future. So I hope that, Amy and April work really hard on this every year, and they always do such a great job in changing a lot of families' lives. Okay, Theresa, 1 more minute. You good to go?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Theresa Santana, and I am with the Division of Developmental Disabilities. This evening, we're going to talk about navigating the Division of Developmental Disabilities Service System. Okay, my page is not changing. There we go. DDD is a division of the New Jersey Department of Human Services. Our mission statement is that DDD assures the opportunity for individuals with developmental disabilities to receive quality services and supports, to participate meaningfully in their communities, and to exercise their right to make choices. And, since switching to a fee-for-service system, we really have the opportunity for people to receive quality services and to interact and be in the community. We switched to a Medicaid-based system back in 2015. So all of our individuals now must be Medicaid eligible, and they must maintain Medicaid eligibility. All individuals will be on a waiver that provides funding for home and community-based services. We have the supports program that most people come into. Throughout the presentation, you will see that noted as SP. And then we have the community care program for individuals with higher need levels. And throughout the presentation, you will see CCP for the community care program. Our providers are Medicaid DDD approved providers, and business entities can be utilized and receive, they just have to be willing to receive reimbursement for services through our fiscal intermediary. And we will talk about that more as the presentation unfolds. We are now fee for service. That means there are standardized rates for services. Payment is now rendered after services are delivered. Prior to switching to fee for service, we had contracted slots at day programs and different programs. Now we really have increased flexibility, choice, and quality switching to this fee for service system. Who does DDD serve? So we serve adults at least 21 years of age, individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities that occurred before the age of 22 and is considered lifelong. They must meet the functional criteria for developmental disabilities, be a resident of New Jersey, and be eligible for Medicaid. I have the Medicaid eligibility help desk here for anyone that has any issues with Medicaid. I will be sure to send Amy a PDF of the presentation this way everyone has all the important links that they may need. We're going to talk about how to prepare for life after 21. We like to use the acronym RECIPES, and this really helps us identify services and supports that will be needed after exiting the school system. This is pretty much what everyone needs, not just people with disabilities. We all have responsibilities. We have to decide on education, our community life, our health and well-being, where do we want to live, employment, and our social life. This here is a tool from Charting the Life course, and we highly recommend that people utilize Charting the Life course. On this form, you can put past life experiences that have supported a vision for a good life. Underneath, past life experiences that you don't want in the future. You list those here. And then moving forward, you want to list current or future life experiences, any goals that would help you pursue your vision for a good life. And then anything that you do not want for a good life. And then on the right, you can, list all the things that you think will give you a good life. And you list all the things that you do not want in your life in order to have a good life. This is a great tool, and it can be really helpful when you meet with support coordination for the first time. Here is another tool from Charting the Life course, and this is the Integrated Support Star. And as you can see, there are, let me admit that person, there are these parts of the star here. We have personal strengths and assets, relationships. It's really important to maintain any relationship that our individuals have, any relationships, and making time for the people that they want in their lives. Eligibility specific on this part of the star, maybe, providers, some classes that someone wants to take to improve on some skills. Community-based, any community-based needs, maybe a person needs help with community safety, those kinds of things. And then here we have technology. What are the person's computer skills? Do they need assistive technology? So these two forms I will send to Amy as well. This way families can utilize these, and they're really, it's great when you actually sit and you plan these things out. It'll be very helpful for the future. So next we're going to talk about the services that are available for individuals who are found eligible for DDD. As you can see, we have a pretty comprehensive list here. As I mentioned on previous slide, SP is for supports program, CCP is for community care program. We have several therapies available, work related. We are work first state. We have career planning. We have pre-vocational training. We have supported employment. For individuals who would like to self-direct, they have supports brokerage available, vehicle mods, home mods, anything, you could possibly think of, you can find in this comprehensive list of services offered by DDD. So now we're going to talk about the steps to access our services. This is just a vision for support across the life course. Many of you may have started an early intervention that's handled by the Department of Health. And then children's services are through age 21, and children's services can be accessed through DCF, the Department of Children and Families, and of course the school system. Our transition ages are 16 to 21, and Planning for Adult Life program is available, and I will explain that on the next slide. And in adult services, you can start for eligibility at 18. Services, however, will not begin until the age of 21. And services can be, through DDD and any generic natural community supports that are available. So when we talk about the transition years 16 to 21, we highly recommend transition planning. So those charting the life course tools that I showed you, they would be really helpful during this time. You want to get to know the person's current skills and preferences, identify adulthood dreams and goals, recipes for success. You want to build skills needed to achieve the goals and make connections. Now is the time to make connections with different families, agencies, use the resources available. We fund Planning for Adult Life. So that's www.planningforadultlife.org. They have a bunch of services available for people in the transition year. So there's student parent groups, there's training sessions. They have something called Webinar Wednesdays. They offer provider fairs. I highly recommend that people go into this site. There's archive webinars, anything you can think of related to transition, guardianship, residential places to live. So I highly recommend you take a look at planningforadultlife.org. This is our graduate timeline. Now, I understand not all people come into DDD as they graduate high school. So this is just a guide. These months are, set up for someone who is exiting the school system this current year. So if, you have not started the process, it's not too late. You can join, you can apply for DDD at any age, starting at 18. So the first part of the box here is what we're going to go over. Step one is to apply for Medicaid eligibility. As I mentioned, sometimes people do have an issue with obtaining Medicaid, and we do have a help desk available to help. The next step would be to apply for DDD eligibility. And in this box here, you will see all of our community services offices. You would call your local office and ask to speak to someone from intake, or you can go to our website and you can get the application there. Step three would be to complete the New Jersey Comprehensive Assessment Tool. We call that the NJCAT, and that's completed at intake. And a DDD representative will help you fill out the New Jersey Comprehensive Assessment Tool. And then the fourth step would be to complete the Support Coordination Agency Selection Form. We now have support coordinators who are basically the care managers. And there are, I believe right now, 177 support coordination agencies throughout the state. So we highly recommend that you pick an agency that is familiar with your area and the services that are available. Now, these next steps we're going to go through in slides. So I will also make sure I send Amy a copy of the graduation timeline so everyone has this information.
Theresa, I have a quick question from the chat, if that's okay.
Oh, sure.
Do permanent residents who may not be eligible for SSI and hence Medicaid, are these services available to them?
No, they have to be eligible. However, I don't want to say no right now. Basically, I would send your scenario to the Medicaid help desk, and they'd be able to provide you more information.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So at 18, most people just go to the Social Security office for SSI. Then DDD, intake eligibility determination. As I mentioned on the previous slide, you can contact the DDD Community Services Office, or you can download the application on our website. And then you can complete the New Jersey Comprehensive Assessment Tool. During this time of applying for eligibility, you can continue to receive services from the school system and DCF if you are a part of the Division of Children and Families. Now, the DDD intake process has two forms. We have a new short application for applicants already determined eligible through DCF. I highly recommend that you reach out to your local community office to make sure they have the information if you were part of DCF. Some people who were part of DCF may still have to fill out the long application, so I highly recommend that you contact your local office. So for anyone who had no prior experience or eligibility with DCF or Perform Care, you would need to fill out the full application. And like I said, the local office and our website has the applications. So the intake application process serves two purposes. This is a little backwards here, but the first would be to determine whether the individual has applied and is eligible for Medicaid. And then the second would be to determine whether the applicant meets the functional criteria. We will request supporting documentation. And again, the completion of the New Jersey Comprehensive Assessment Tool will help in determining whether the individual meets the functional criteria. So here we have all of the documentation that is necessary, and then other documentation that is helpful but not necessary. I would like to also add to this list of necessary items an ID. Individuals really need ID for bank accounts, if they want to get a job, those things. So a non-driver's license can actually be obtained starting at the age of 14. The medical documentation of disability is needed, recent psychological evaluations, neurological evaluations, any child study team or school reports that are recent, psychiatric evaluations, DVRS assessments, and all available psychological reports. And then on the list to the right, we have helpful but not necessary, most recent IEP, any therapy evaluations, hospital records, social summaries. So the New Jersey Comprehensive Assessment Tool is a mandatory assessment tool that evaluates support needs in three main areas, and that's self-care, behavioral, and medical. And this is completed at intake, and this will establish an individual's tier. The tier actually determines the individualized budget amount, and the tier determines service reimbursement rates for most of the services. Reassessments of New Jersey CAT can be done upon request. Sometimes, situations change, so you would just have to reach out to the division for that. So the tiers and individualized budgets. As I mentioned, the results of the NJ-CAT establish the tier. We have 5 base tiers, A through E. Any of the base tiers can also have an acuity factor for individuals that have significant medical or behavioral needs, and that would be identified by a small lowercase a, and as you see, there's an example here. And that indicates that there is an acuity factor. Every tier has a corresponding up to budget amount that funds the needed services. So if an individual is determined eligible, they will receive a letter of eligibility and a phone call for the applicant to discuss the selection of a support coordination agency. If the applicant is determined ineligible, the applicant will receive a letter explaining the reasons for the determination of ineligibility. It also comes with an appeal process. I highly recommend that if you receive a letter of ineligibility, you take a look at what is needed. Sometimes it's just, a form or some documentation that is required. So please take a look at the letter when it comes in.
Teresa, there's a quick question in the chat. Is DDD for specific disabilities? For example, if a child has ADHD with an IEP, would they be eligible or able to apply?
If they have an IEP, they can apply. And as I mentioned, the NJCAT will help determine if they're found eligible. It will establish a tier, and it's really based on the level of need that comes out of the NJCAT.
Thank you.
No problem. Entering DDD service system and support coordination. Care management provided through Medicaid and DDD approved support coordination agencies. I want to mention that the fee for support coordination does not come out of the individual's budget. That is a DDD Medicaid cost. The support coordinators will use a person-centered planning process to identify outcomes and service needs. And they will develop the individualized service plan. That's the plan that identifies outcome, service needs, and providers. Many people are used to having an IEP through the school years. The adult world, we now have an ISP, and an ISP will be done annually, just like the IEPs. So your support coordinator is your link to individual providers. They will conduct monthly monitoring. The individuals can choose their support coordination agency, or they can have one auto-assigned by the DDD system. Individuals can change support coordination agencies upon request. We just ask that you spend at least 30 days with your support coordination agency prior to asking for a change. Now, once we hit 21 years, you want to ensure that the individual is eligible for DDD and Medicaid. So the fall prior to graduation, if it's not already done, you want to complete the New Jersey CAT, and that will take place with the DDD Community Services Office Intake Unit. And in February or March of graduation year, you want to submit your support coordination agency selection form. In April of graduation year, that's when DDD begins the assignment of all support coordination agencies. And then through April through June of graduating year, it's the planning process with the support coordinator and the service plan approval. So here are the steps in the service planning process. As we mentioned, there's the assessment, and that measures self-care, behavior, and medical needs. It will establish the individual's tier, and it will be completed by the individual and primary caregiver. In fact, sometimes, anyone who's very close to the individual, can assist in the NJCAT. The discovery and planning, this takes place with the support coordinator, and the discovery would be the completion of the person-centered planning tool, and that identifies hopes, dreams, and goals. And then it gathers information to develop the individualized service plan. The individualized service plan will identify outcomes, identify services, and identify providers. And it also has the budgeting for services. And then, the individual can decide on living. Where do they want to live? Do they want to stay with family? Maybe they want to get an apartment. Where do they want to work? What did they want to do for health, recreation, and family and friends? So, all of these are really important in the planning process. So once you're assigned to support coordination, within 3 days, you will receive a call from the support coordinator. And then within 10 days, you will have your first meeting with the support coordinator. And that's when you would complete the person-centered planning tool. And then within 30 days, there will be the completion of the individualized service plan, and services begin after the ISP is approved. Due to COVID, Governor Murphy signed an extra year of special education to graduates of the 21, 22, and 23 school years. So I believe we are in our final school year. Individuals who graduate are set to graduate in 2023 are entitled to an extra year of educational entitlement, and it must be deemed necessary by the student's IEP team. DDD eligible students who are receiving services beyond their educational entitlement will be able to access DDD services that are not duplicative by those being provided by the school district. For example, if a person's receiving speech therapy through the school district, they will not be able to utilize their budget for that. Any questions regarding the extra year of special education can be directed to the transition help desk. That's ddd.transitionhelpdesk@dhs.nj.gov. The unit I work in, that's my team on the help desk. We're available Monday through Friday to answer any questions that anyone has regarding transition. Next, I have a few pages of resources, and as I mentioned, I will make sure everyone gets a copy of this. The community services offices, contact information, our phone number, our website, and email for routine questions. News and announcements on our website, nj.gov. There's actually a link to the timeline I showed you. And the quick guide for families, this is a great guide. It kind of breaks down our 300-page manual into, maybe 20 pages, and it gives you all the details about entering services. We have a link to the NJ CAT assessment. And our provider database. This is a great database. It has everything, every provider in the system, and you could do a search. So for example, if you are looking for supported employment services, you would do a search for supported employment providers, and the whole list will come up. So that's a great resource for families. Bog Center, we fund the Bog Center. They have a link on how to select a provider, and they also have a link on how to select a support coordination agency. These are great guides and should be able to answer most of your questions. And then to stay informed with DDD communication, we highly recommend that you send an email to ddd.communications@dhs.nj.gov and put division update subscribe, and from that point on you will receive any updates that the division puts out. And then here is a list of help desks. As I mentioned, anything related to transition comes to my unit. We have the supports program help desk, Medicaid eligibility, and the fee-for-service implementation help desk. So I am available to answer any questions anyone has.
I believe you did a great job. Wonderful job, Teresa. So impactful and so important. All that information is absolutely wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe Alicia Rivera has a question. You could just unmute yourself. Just type
Hi,
in the
how
chat.
are you? Hi, how are you?
Hi.
My question is, let's say that something happens to me and my husband, and I don't have anything written down where who my daughter goes to. What happens to her then?
Uh, is she part of DDD yet?
Yes, she is. We're working on everything, and I'm getting her oh, how you say that word? Her custody and all that.
Okay.
She already
Guardianship?
graduated school. She's 19.
Okay.
So, but my question is, when I go speak to the judge, can I put that if anything were to happen to myself or my husband, who does she goes to, or she automatically goes to somebody in my family?
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with that. I would recommend reaching out to get maybe contact an attorney to find out. I think that would be more of part of your will. Do you and your husband have a will? You may have to do something like that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Teresa, this is Amy. If I may add to your response, Community Health Law Project, as well as Disability Rights New Jersey, provide low-cost legal services for people with disabilities and their families, particularly around the topic of guardianship or supported decision-making or assigning power of attorney. And I'd also put into the chat if anyone has requests for one-on-one support with transition process. We have an open Q&A forum on Friday from 12 to 2 with the Youth Transition Planning Committee, as well as Paul Aronson and DVRS. And Teresa, you're welcome to join us too. I'm not sure if I had extended that invite
Yes, you
to you
have.
personally. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I'll be there.
please feel free. Perfect. I will make sure everybody knows that. So we'll have breakout rooms where we can also answer your personalized questions as well for you folks.
And yeah, just so you guys know, last year, actually it was this year in January, we started having resource days. And that's something, I can talk to Amy about. And basically, people can meet with DDD for about, 20 minutes just to talk about specific issues. I know sometimes families do not like to, ask questions in a large group. So we do have that available as well.
Is there a wait list for something like that? Like, would a family have to sign up for that? Is there like a time to wait for that? Because that is a huge, huge resource for families who have a lot of questions.
Right. So anyone who had our navigating presentation can have this. So maybe I can set something up with you, Amy, since you have the list of people that were here, and then, I can offer it to them. There is no wait list. It's just, picking a date that we're available.
That's really awesome. That's a great resource because it's hard. There's just so much information and so many questions that come around this. And, especially the CAT assessment, it's not always the easiest to fill out if you're not comfortable with things like that. So really
Yes.
great resource. Great. That's really awesome.
Any other questions?
Nothing in the chat. Anybody have anything else?
I
Wonderful
have a
presentation.
question.
Okay.
I'm sorry, was I interrupting somebody?
No.
No, okay, thank you. Teresa, I have a question. I've encountered some families recently that mentioned they have a child that's 18 and already receiving services through the division and have completed the NJCAT and are still in school at 18, plan to continue till 21 as their entitlement, but also are still somehow have a support coordinator assigned and are also eligible through DDD. And I'm not quite sure how that process works. I've seen it a few times recently, and I've also in the past heard it's when people get grandfathered in, but these are, younger families within the last week. So it couldn't be that they're grandfathered in. Do you have?
Oh, I was going
understanding
to say that they must have been part of our Medicaid, children, Medicaid when we first did the switch. You're saying they're new clients?
Yes,
I'll have to get back to you on that.
thank you. I can't find the answer anywhere. It would be so helpful. Thank you so much if you could tell me.
No problem. I'll get right on that.
Thank you.
And there is another hand raised, another question. Nang Wang, you can answer your question.
Hi, this is Ning. I just wanted to ask, I thought I saw something that says on the support coordinator agency selection form, you can indicate if you need immediate service. I'm trying to make sure that I understood that, how that's done. It normally says it takes some time before that's processed.
So you're talking about the support coordination selection form. So once DDD reaches out and says you're eligible for services, then we require you to submit the support coordination selection form. Is your child graduating year?
Well, it's not necessarily the graduation that makes a difference. It's actually there's a intensive case management involved.
Oh, okay.
And they said that basically you can't get a support coordinator until that's finished. The intensive case management is finished, but the minute that's finished, they're saying there's a time limit in which you have to get your support coordination completed. So
Right. So once they come,
yeah, go ahead.
once they come to the end of intensive case management, they will let you know when you have to pick a support coordinator.
Right, but when you fill out the form, is that going to be expedited, or do you still have to wait a normal period of time before they process the form?
Oh, no, the intensive case management team will make sure that you get your support coordinator up and running. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I'm trying to find out how long it would take for that to be processed.
I don't have a specific, each case
Okay.
is really individualized based on the, the level of need. So, if you want to reach out to me, I can, through
Okay.
email, I can, try to look into it further for you.
Okay, so I was just, so this is to understand that I asked the right question. You're saying in order to get a support coordination, it varies by case by case. How long
Yes,
it takes to get-
and then I'm not sure, how long the intensive case management is going to last and what needs to be done. But yes, that group will tell you when you're ready for support coordination.
Okay, and it's pretty short period of time for
Right, you're not going to be waiting a year to get into with a support coordinator. No. Once we assign them, they have to reach out to you within 3 days.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Brenda, you have a question?
Yes, it follows on the question that she just answered. My question is, my son receives an adoption subsidy and Medicaid. He is double insured. We have regular insurance, and then Medicaid is the secondary insurer. My question was, is that a problem for him when he turns 18? He's 15 now. I'm just looking ahead. I don't want to the last minute. So
Well,
that was one
he's
question.
already approved for Medicaid. So he has children's Medicaid.
He does.
Yeah, so
But
he would have to apply for adult Medicaid at 18.
Okay, and the second question is, since we've already gone through the DDS process, does he still have to wait till he's 18 before he can get a support coordinator?
Yes.
I mean, is that like an age requirement? That is an age requirement.
Well, the support coordinators, division services start at 21. So he would get a support coordinator before entering DDD services.
So is there anything for the kids that are younger that are going into the transition stage?
As far as
It
support,
seems very complicated. Yeah.
well, there's DCF. I don't know if your child needs supports through the Division of Children and Families. That's available. And, like I said, planning for adult life can give you lots of information about transitioning as well. Yeah, Perform Care. All right. So Amy put that up. Perform Care is for people under 21.
He's in Perform Care now. We
Okay.
actually have those services. Okay, thank you. I was there's so much information. I can't
There
remember
is,
to
and
parse it,
and
so
please, Brenda, if you can, take advantage when I send around the resource day. We can, spend some time together and get you on the right track.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Not yet. It is confusing. Can you just go over a little bit more about the short form and the long form when kids are involved with perform care? Because that was my biggest,
Yeah, I
struggle
know.
for my child.
When we first started doing the presentation, we're like, oh, if you were, with perform care, you need the short application. But it
Right,
turns out they actually, if the person went through perform care and they did not fill out the disability determination form, then they would have to fill out the full application. But if you filled out the correct paperwork, you don't have to. That's why I recommend that you call your local office and find out from them. They can look you up in the system and find out if you need to fill out the long or the short form. Each case is different, so I can't just give a blanket statement. But I do know that if you went through the extensive paperwork with perform care, including disability determination, I think you would fill out the short form at that point.
And just another question. So if a youth is declined, let's say they're transitioning age, they're an adult, they're 21, they're transitioned to an adulthood and they get declined, can they reapply again in 2 or 3 years? There's not a limit to how many times you can apply if you're declined,
No.
correct?
There is no limit to the amount of times you can apply. And like I mentioned, really look at that letter that comes in that says the person is not eligible. Sometimes, it's just missing paperwork or missing documentation. So, I would definitely appeal, especially, if your child's been receiving services their whole life, so definitely, look into why the person was denied.
Excellent answer. Amy did put lots of really great resources in the chat. There's the Community Health Law Project for the and Disability Rights New Jersey for any the will questions regarding custody and will. And all the workshops are being recorded. So if you guys on the YouTube channel as well. So be mindful if you want to share your information. And also on Friday from 12 to 2, there's an open Q&A forum for one-to-one transition supports, transportation transition. It all looks the same to my eyes this day. Anything, we're just going to be lots of people to answer questions and lots of personal opportunities for one-to-one information if anybody is interested. And Theresa just put her email in the chat. Thank you, Theresa, for that.
Yes, please reach out if you have any questions. I'll do my best to get you to the right people.
Excellent presentation. Lots of information. It's amazing how this whole week is filled with so much information. There's so much to learn and so much to see. So thank God there's PowerPoints and recordings coming because we'll all be, it's a lot of really great information.
It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot to, put into place. So
it would help too if the schools could give more, like if the schools had a handbook like this, they could give kind of to a parent and say, here's all the things you need to know, all the things to look at and look for. So,
right.
Excellent.
I also just want to interject briefly. We have another workshop presentation with Christina with the Division of Developmental Disabilities on Wednesday at 1 p.m. called Recipes for a Meaningful Life. And you're also welcome to join that. In fact, you're welcome to join all of the 25 or 30 plus workshops we have this week, but you may find that one useful for other information about DDD as well.
Wow, Amy, you really got a lot of people together this week. That's wonderful. Good job.
She's a powerhouse.
Thank
you.
Totally. Powerhouse.
Just trying to help, but thank you.
I will tell you though, even if you just stay on the link all day long, there's so many different, you could spend the whole day just listening and you'll get so much information, something maybe you didn't even think you would need with your child or for your family, but you might actually be like, oh, that's really kind of important, or that might be useful later on. So any opportunity you can get to participate in all the workshops, do so. It's a really great, wonderful load of information. And Theresa, you were awesome. You did such a great job. Yeah, Amy said, I learned something new each time I attend a workshop. That's true. I feel like
it is true.
you can think, I've been in this field for 40 years, but you always learn something new and it always changes. So yes, always something new to learn. Anybody have any more questions? All right, I guess that's that. Hold on 1 second. Let's give it a couple more minutes if anybody has any more questions.
I just have a statement. This is the workshop of all day, first one all day that anybody unmuted themselves or raised their hands and got to interact. And I just love that component of it. So thank you for bringing that to the table, Theresa. And thank you everyone for participating.
All right, so that concludes our workshop of developmental disabilities with Theresa Santana. Thank you so much for your time and all your knowledge and all your resources. You are super awesome. Workshop recording will be made available on the website in November. For those in need for proof of attendance for continuing education credits, you'll receive an email soon with your certificate. It is up to your employer to accept this as proof of continuing education. You will not receive a certificate if you do not register using the form shared today. And again, that's in the chat box. We can drop it again in there if you need. If you have any questions, please reach us at njyouthtransition@gmail.com. Drop that link in the chat one more time. And thank you all for your time. And I just hit a different button. I was trying to copy it and I hit a different button. You can never be good enough at Zoom, everybody. You can never be good enough. Well, thank you, Theresa, and thank you, everybody, for a great day. And thank you, Amy, for a wonderful, wonderful conference. Have a great day. And again, don't forget Friday from 12 to 2, we're going to have open Q&A forum for one-to-one transition support. So please make sure you're available. You can come in, pop in, and ask any questions you have. Thank you all so much. Have a great day.
Have a good night.
Night. That's right. It's nighttime.